Good day. Goeiedag, fellow South Africans. And this is a shout out to Davi, who sent me a very interesting link about the South African Reserve Bank. And all I can say to you in South Africa is if you've got any money at all in the bank in a fixed deposit, or you've got money sitting in the bank, get it the hell out of there and go and buy gold Kruger Rands right now. Don't even think twice about it. Just go and do it. And you'll see why in a few seconds. You know, we got that election coming up in May, don't you? And that's when politicians promise the world and then don't deliver. And this is exactly what the ANC are doing. Okay. Currently, the Reserve Bank in South Africa is 60% owned by foreigners. So whatever comes as revenue or share growth from the bank goes to international people who may not help to grow the economy internally. Say ANC acting spokesperson and National Executive Committee member Dakota Legote. The ANC wants the South African Reserve Bank to be owned by, amongst others, now, just imagine how Wall Street will react to this, okay? The ANC wants the South African Reserve Bank to be owned by, amongst others, stokvels, taxi associations, and burial societies. This is Cloud Lulu land. You know, it's really crazy shit. Anyway, this was stated by ANC acting spokesperson and National Executive Committee member Dakota Legote during the party's post-annual Lekgotla press briefing at Luthuli House on Tuesday, and that was just yesterday, as debate around nationalization of the central bank rages on. Let me just assure you of one thing before I continue with this article. If the South African government nationalizes the Reserve Bank of South Africa, the Rand is going to go into a huge hole. And that's why I said just now, buy gold, that's your number one option, or buy silver. And I'll explain to you why. The gold and silver price, I'm talking about the physical metal. I'm not talking about, this bullshit and ETFs and stuff like that. I'm talking about actually going to the Reserve Bank and buying yourself a Kruger Rand or buying yourself 10 ounces of silver and keeping that, because that is based on US dollars. So if the Rand collapses against the US dollar, you maintain your value by having that physical commodity. And when you trade it in, you will get the US dollar equivalent. So let's say the Rand today is 15 Rand to the dollar, and when they nationalize the Reserve Bank, it drops down to, say, 50 Rand to the dollar. At a time in the future, you'll be able to go to the commodity trader and get the full value in US dollars of that particular commodity. So it's a far safer bet than keeping your money in Rands. Okay. Legote echoed President Cyril Ramaphosa and the ANC Secretary General Ace Magashule. You gotta love their names, haven't you? Ace Magashule. Ace! I'm an ace! I'm the Red Baron! I'm gonna shoot everyone down! Boom, bing, 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 bing. I'm sorry, I'm having a little rant here. Jeez, they piss me off. Oh, they don't know what they're doing. So, let's get back to this. ANC Secretary General Ace Magashule on their individual takes on the issues, saying there was no contradiction as the former had addressed independence of the bank while the latter had addressed ownership, two issues that could not be conflated. According to Legote, nationalization of the bank was going to happen, but the bank would need to keep its independence. Yeah, good luck with that. Look at state capture. This is the biggest fish in the sea, the Reserve Bank. You can imagine what the politicians are going to do with that. You know, this is just, it's awful. It's awful. Okay, Lagoti said, by public ownership of the Reserve Bank, we mean that the public investment companies like the PIC, the IDC, like Stockfels that we have, like agricultural unions, like taxi associations, individuals, burial societies, through a share scheme to get access to the Reserve Bank so that whatever we get as income and revenue must first and foremost help South Africans. That's a complete red herring. The only place nationalising the Reserve Bank will help are the politicians who've got their snouts so deep in the trough, I'm surprised they're still able to breathe. He goes on to say, this is our famous Legote. Currently, the bank is 60% owned by foreigners. So whatever comes as revenue or shares growth from the bank goes to international people who may not help us to grow the economy internally, even though we accept the direct foreign investment. But to a certain extent, we must talk about South Africans owning their own public assets as part of us broadening our economic participation and economic ownership. Now, there's one very short statement in there that is critical to the value of the Rand, okay? And I'll repeat it to you. We accept direct foreign investment. Direct foreign investment supports the value of the Rand. You nationalize your Reserve Bank, and there will be very little direct foreign investment, and the Rand is just going to go spiraling like Zimbabwe did into a huge hole. I mean, that's not a prediction, it's a fact. It's going to happen, okay? Now, Lagoti said that this would change economic ownership patterns drastically in favor of the majority. Yeah, in favor of the majority. Now, when the Rand is worth 15 Rand to the dollar, when I was in South Africa, it used to be on parity with the dollar, which shows how much it's fallen already. So how is it going to benefit society when it's 5,000 Rand to the dollar? It's following the path that Zimbabwe did. And once you expropriate land without compensation, you're going to have that incredible hyperinflation going on. And you know what's happening in Zimbabwe right now. And South Africa is fast becoming Zimbabwe 2.0. This is why I keep on advocating for minority groups in South Africa, the Griqua, the coloured, and the whites, to say to the majority groups who think they're running the country and set up a totally separate state and protect it. And if any of the Africans in that state have problems, kick them out. I can guarantee you one thing, that within 5 years' time, that state will be productive, it'll be successful, it'll be the jewel in the crown of South Africa, and you'll have all these Africans to the north crying to come in. That's not a prediction, it's a fact. Anyway, let me get back to this article and I'll sign off. I'm off on a tangent again. Currently, as it is, we tax less than 10% of South Africans, who must pay for the social responsibility of more than 90%. The 90%, by and large, are consumers and not owners of means or of production, so industrial and power relations need to change in the economy if we're serious about radical economic transformation. This is our friend Lagoti talking. Now, I have a simple statement to make to Lagoti. Those 10% of taxpayers, I bet you at least 70% of that 10% is white-owned businesses or white taxpayers, affluent whites who pay a lot of tax. supporting most of the people in South Africa. And they are fleeing the country right now. So your tax base is just going down the gurgler. And do you know what supports a country's currency? Is tax. Because the tax is used to pay the interest on the debt. This is when he was talking about how the shareholders get income and so on like that. So he's got that right, but the debt in South Africa is increasing so dramatically, and you've got China hovering in the wings. They've now got police stations in South Africa. They are going to be walking in. And that's why it's a really good idea for those minority groups to look seriously right now at seceding a part of South Africa before China really get their hooks in. Because if you do that, and you defend those borders, because the SADF, let's face it, is a joke. If you defend those borders, you then have a separate minority group state where the Malemas and the Andilis of the world can go and jump up and down as much as they like around the witch doctor's party, and it won't help them one little iota. All right, guys, I'm going to leave it there. Please remember to subscribe to be kept informed. But if you've got some cash in South Africa, put it into gold and silver, physical gold and physical silver. And I'm talking about bars. I'm not talking about coins, because if you're buying coins, you're going to pay a premium. You can go to the Reserve Bank of South Africa and you can buy gold Rands, and you can talk to them about buying pure silver. Very, very cheap, very little premium added. And in 5 years' time, you'll be thanking me that you did that. Or not even 5 years, probably about 6 months' time. All right, guys, take care. And don't forget to subscribe to be kept informed. Bye for now.